Hi there, I'm Margarita, and today I'm going to be showing you how I edit my videos and create my thumbnails for my Sims videos. So for those of you that watch my videos, this is probably the first time you're hearing my voice. I don't typically do voiceovers, although I don't know, this is kind of making me want to actually do a voiceover maybe every once in a while. So yeah, as you can see, I am on a MacBook right now. I do not play my Sims on my Mac. I don't even have Sims on here. Um, this is just what I use to edit my videos. So the good thing about Macs is it comes with this program called iMovie down here. Um, it's free with the computer, so that's what I use. From other people that edit videos, they say they use Final Cut Pro. I'm not sure if that's Windows compatible or not, but that's a good option if you don't have a Mac. But this is just what I use because this is what came with it. So this is the main screen. Usually here there'll be little boxes with all of your projects, but I'm like always running out of space on my computer, so I usually delete the projects once I've uploaded them to YouTube because I don't really need them anymore. So I don't have any. But anyways, I just go to create new and I do a movie, and it brings up this, which I feel like most editing softwares are pretty similar. So this should be helpful no matter what type of software you're using, I hope. Sorry if you're not using a Mac and this is like totally useless, but anyways, so what I'm gonna do is go to my Finder, and I keep all of my files on my terabyte here. They're usually much more organized than this, but I just did an import from my PC, so they're all just kind of floating around from the video that I just uploaded, which you should go check out. Okay, so I keep them all in here. These are all of my projects, all my videos that I've done so far, and even ones that I haven't even uploaded yet are here. So yeah, I'm just gonna pick a random one. Trying to find one that I've already uploaded a while ago. Let's do this one. So, these are all the screenshots that I took when I was building. So those are all in here, and then that's the thumbnail that I made for this video, and this is the edited video that I already put on YouTube, and then this is the unedited one. So I'm going to move this one down here, and it shows up in my little, I don't know what this is called. It shows up down here. So the first thing I always do when I import a video is I delete the sound file, so you can hear the little like Sims background music on here, and I always delete that because when you speed it up, it speeds up the music too, so it sounds weird. So you can see it deleting the sound waves, and then I click this little stopwatch looking thing, and I always go to custom, and for whatever reason I like to do 500% or 5 times faster. Sometimes I'll do 6, but I feel like any faster and it's kind of dizzy and hard to watch, and any slower and it's kind of like, come on, let's just move this along. So I usually go with 5 or 600% or 5 or 6 times faster on here. So that's the first thing I do. And then once I've sped it up, I might do it actually 600. Once I've sped it up, I just sit and watch the whole thing. And mostly what I look for when I watch through the first time is for my mouse to sit in one spot for a long time. I do that a lot. Like I'll be building something and then I'll go get a snack or use the restroom or something, and so my mouse will just kind of be sitting in one spot. So I try to edit those out so that you're not just staring at an unmoving screen. So that's what I do when I watch it the first time. I don't edit out any like buildingness or anything. If anything, I'll edit out like the first few seconds of me like choosing which lot to build on, like this part, but otherwise I am, oops, otherwise I'm keeping everything in there. So, and then I'll edit out the ending too. Sometimes I keep recording and go into gameplay, and so I'll edit that out. So yeah, and then once I do that, I always add in my overlays, which you've probably noticed in my videos. They haven't been super consistent because I can't make up my mind on what I want them to look like, but for my last couple of videos, they've looked something like this. I keep them in this folder. Yeah, okay, so these are my overlays. This one is the one that you see at the beginning of my videos. It looks like this. It says Sul, it's Margarita. So what I do is I drag and drop this here, and you'll click on, well, it usually already comes up with that, but if it doesn't, you click on these two little squares and click on green or blue screen, and it makes it transparent so that it's just the words showing up. And then I usually speed this up just 2 times, and so then when you press play, it pops up on top like that. So the way that I made that little overlay is through this program called Keynote, which also comes with MacBooks. It's kind of Mac's version of PowerPoint. So I always go to wide and I click the white one, and then I delete these and zoom out, and then on the one that I showed you on the video just now, it was a green background, but I usually do blue backgrounds because when I add in my little avatar person that looks, it actually does look like me. So this is somewhat what I look like in cartoon form. If I did a green background and I made it transparent, it would make my Plum Bob transparent too, but you can do a blue background and it'll work. So I put on my little avatar usually, and then I'll put things like my Twitter and Instagram handle, so I'll add in text and do something like that for my Twitter, and move that up here, and then I make it white like that, and then I like to change the font. My favorite font right now is Lemon Milk, something like that, and then I like to animate it so when it comes in it does something. Trace is my favorite. I think it looks cool like that. I usually use that one, but there's a bunch. Sometimes I just like it to appear, so when it pops up I don't want this to pop up and then this to come in, so I'll do a build in for this, but I just kind of want it to come up. So then I'll go to build order and make sure that this typing comes in before the avatar picture. So then I want them to come in at the same time. So I'll say with build one. So it'll go like that. And then if I preview it, everything happens at the same time, which is what I want, which it didn't do. Okay, let's try that again. And then everything comes in at the same time like that. And so then what the important part is to export it. So you go to export to QuickTime, and I always leave this as is. I mean, you could save it in 1080p, but it's just going to be a small thing like in the corner of the image, so I'd rather it not take up as much file space. And then I'll do tester Twitter handle. And this is saving into that same folder, so I'll export it. Usually doesn't take very long because it's not very big. Okay, so then I'll go back to this, and I just made this one, so I'll drag it down like that and do the same thing, green or blue screen, and it makes it so that you don't see the blue part, and then I'll show you what that looks like, and it appears right there. So yeah, I mean, they're super easy to make, and you can do lots of different things with the animation and stuff. Add in pictures, honestly, whatever you want. So I have a few of those. One has like my Instagram and Twitter handle, And then there's one that I'll put a little bit later in my video that asks you to like and subscribe my videos, which you should right now if you want. And then maybe I'll put like the Instagram and Twitter ones again if it's a really long video, just to remind you to follow me on social media. And then I have 2 overlays, which I will show you, that I use at the end. So I have my like and subscribe overlay, which says, nope, not that one. What's it called? Margarita outro, that's what it is. It just says thanks for watching, blah, blah, blah. More reminders about my social media, things like that. So that one's kind of fun. There it is. Okay, and then I also have one that tells you about my Sims gallery stuff. So green and blue screen again. Like I said, I make this one blue, otherwise my plumb bob would kind of look gray, which sucks. So, but that didn't really matter for this one because I didn't have my little person on there. So I'll show you what this one looks like. Oh my goodness, quit going to the beginning. Go right here. Play. Okay, and now it'll pop up. Da-da-da. That's where my gallery is. And then, yeah, that's the end of the video. So that's the gist of how I edit my videos. I do add in music. If you've watched enough of my videos, you know that I use the same songs over and over. I get my music from the audio library on YouTube. It's all royalty-free music that is okay to use on YouTube. I have downloaded some that I just use over and over, so I usually pick from these and mostly use the same ones because it's just background music and I like the little songs, and so I just keep using the same ones, but I could download new ones, but I don't. So then same with this, you just drag and drop those down here and they appear in the video. So the thing that I try to do with my songs, let me go back to that. This is one of my favorite ones, Life with Riley. So when it comes up, sometimes the songs will be kind of loud and they will look kind of yellow along the tops of the sound waves. So I always try to make sure they're in the green. Otherwise they're a little too loud, and I wouldn't want somebody to click on my video and be blasted with music way too loud if they had their headphones in. So most of the time I end up putting them around 70%, just to make sure it's not too loud, but also not too quiet. So some songs are kind of louder than others, but that's how that looks. And then you'll notice at the end it kind of dies down, and obviously I'd have to put another song in right here, so I usually trim it so that it's faded out just a little bit, but not completely silent for like 5 awkward seconds, and then I go straight into the next song. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of me editing my videos. It really doesn't take me very long. I don't do much to them. I just add in some overlays that I've already pre-made and add in some songs. So yeah, and then whenever I export them, I just click on this little button and put them in as a file. Yeah, so like I said, I do play The Sims on my PC and then I edit them on my Mac. So what I use is this OBS Studio on my PC, which is what I'm using right now to record this. It kind of freaks out when I click on it when I'm recording my desktop, but this is what it looks like. Everybody uses something different, but this is what I record with on my PC, and I just have it capture my Sims window. I do like the, what is it, game capture or something like that. I'm not sure, window capture or something like that. Oh, game capture, that's what I usually use. So, but right now I'm doing display capture and then obviously audio capture because I'm talking. So yeah, in case you wanted to know what I record with, that's what I use. This, I'm gonna X out of Keynote and delete. Okay, so then what I use to edit my thumbnails is Photoshop. This is a thumbnail that I just did for the video that I literally just uploaded. So I'm gonna do a new one and show you how I do these. It's pretty simple. I always use Web Medium, which is 1440 by 900. I would prefer to do Web Large, but those files end up being too big to put on YouTube, which kind of sucks. So then I'll go and to my files for my Sims videos and select a screenshot, I usually end up using like the one of the front of the building because I'm boring and I pretty much always do the same thing. So I just drag and drop that onto my artboard and stretch it out so we don't have any weird like extra views of the street or whatever, and no white edges. And place that, and then I add a text layer, again using my favorite font, which is called Lemon Milk. Oh, I meant to mention that earlier. I get my fonts from a website called dafont.com. It's an awesome site with lots of really cool fonts. All you do is click download. It pops up in your downloads down here. Click on the file, click on the TrueType font file, and then hit install. And then it brings up your font folder, and there it is. Well, that's not that one, but anyways, that was another one I downloaded. But my favorite is Lemon Milk right now. So if you notice, all my thumbnails have lemon milk. So you can drag this little thingy to make it different sizes, which is nice because you don't have to like keep typing in different numbers to get it the size you want. But the most important thing with the text is you want people to be able to read it. So when you have your text layer selected, go to FX and drop shadow. I have my default drop shadow settings saved, but I like to have a pretty large spread and a pretty big size, because that way no matter what's behind it, you'll still be able to read it pretty well. And then you can also change like where you want the shadow to be going, but I usually like to have it right here so that you can really easily read the words. So for font this blocky, it's nice to have a large drop shadow so that it's easier to read. But if you go into a more scripty font like this, which this is my second favorite, which is called Lemon Tuesday, it is just a coincidence that they're both lemon. I don't know why that is. I'm not obsessed with lemons or anything. It's just how it is. But if you use a really thick drop shadow on a scripty font, it kind of looks a little more muddled. So on a scripty font, I will tend to make it a little smaller, but it's still easy to read. It's just not as spread out as on the block font. So yeah, so that's what I do there. And then I always select my image layer and go to image adjustments, and I do two adjustments. I do hue saturation, and I bring up the saturation level to make it really bright and vibrant. And then I go to brightness and contrast, and I make up the brightness a little bit. You don't want it to be crazy. Like that's just like, that hurts my eyes. Like I just bump it up like 10. And then I bump up the contrast just a little bit to just make it stand out more. So that just kind of looks, I don't know, it just looks nice. And since the thumbnails aren't super big, I really want them to stand out and be bright and sunny. Okay, so then the next thing I always do, well, not on every single thumbnail, but on most of them, especially the build ones, I make a new layer by clicking this button here, and I add in a little light, what's it called? Light flare, I think is what it's called, like that. So that's a brush that I downloaded from the internet, Adobe Light. Oh wait, I might have deleted the file, but I just got it from like Brush Easy or something. It's just a simple light flare. I don't know. Yeah, it looks like that. So they're easy to download, and then you just, when you go to brush and click these little lines, oh wait, maybe it's this one. Yeah, you click on brush presets, then you click load brushes, and you can add in any brush sets that you download. But I just like to put this in here, and then when it's its own layer, if you make sure to make it its own layer like I did, you can adjust it and like move it. So I can kind of make it look like it's peeking out between the trees, and then it kind of gives like a little burst of sunlight. It's really subtle, but it really makes a difference, I think. So yeah, that's how I edit my thumbnails. It's really not anything super crazy. And then I just save them as a JPEG like this. So yeah, there is a little bit more involved with something like this when you have to cut out the Sims. So I'll go ahead and show you how to do that. Start another new document file. do another medium one. I have some like kind of backgrounds of like generic Sims locations saved. So I have this kind of night scene of San Myshuno that I use sometimes. So we'll just do that. And then I'll go back to my pictures here and maybe select one of these of him and drop that on there. So then we can cut him out because we don't want all this blue stuff. We just want him out by himself, kind of like I did here. So what I do is click this magnetic lasso tool, and then I usually start at his feet, although it doesn't really matter, and then kind of try to slowly follow his outline, and it does a pretty good job, especially with this semi-solid background that the Create a Sim has of just following their outline, although it's not always perfect, and that's okay. If it's kind of cutting him off a little bit, you can click and make your own anchor points so that it'll leave him in there. I just kind of go, I'm not like super perfect with it because I'll just go in and fix it. Plus, I try not to be nitpicky about my thumbnails because they're so small on YouTube that it's really pointless to make every single thing like completely perfect because nobody will notice, because hopefully they're just clicking on your video rather than just watching your thumbnail. Okay, so once you get back to the beginning, a little circle pops up next to your cursor, and that's when you've reached the beginning. So then you just click, and you've got this kind of wiggly outline. And then I'm gonna double click on this and click rasterize layer, and that allows me to edit the layer. And so I'm going to Command X and crop him out of the picture and then delete his background. And then I'm going to paste him back, and so now here he is without his background anymore. So we kind of lost a couple fingers here and there, and his hat's a little messed up, but nothing too crazy. There's kind of a big patch of blue up by his shoulder, so I'm going to get rid of that by going to the polygonal lasso tool. So this is the one that I'm using now, but if you right click you can change it, and I'm going to go to polygonal, and this kind of just allows you to make shapes by clicking and creating anchor points. So if I'm just clicking, it just draws a straight line from wherever my cursor is until I click again, and that creates a new anchor point. So I'm just going to kind of outline this until that little circle pops up, and then hit delete, and then Control D, and then that's a little better. So like I said, I'm not going to make a big deal about little imperfections because once it's zoomed out, you really can't tell. So I'll move him over here, and then I usually put like a white outline around them like this to kind of hide any of those imperfections that come from cutting him out. So to do that, I go to his layer, and I go to FX again. This is what I clicked on to put the drop shadow, but I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to do an outer glow. So like I said, I have presets set for this because I always want it to look like this. So I have the blend mode is lighter color with 100% opacity, 0 noise, no spread, and a size of 10. You can make that bigger or smaller. Well, you don't want it to be 0, but I like 10. Yeah, I mean those are my settings. So you can change the color and stuff if you want. I just like white because I'm boring. So that's how I do that. And so now that he has his outline, it's kind of, you can't really tell that his finger is missing. His hat still kind of looks weird, but once I put the text and stuff on there, you can't really tell, and it's going to be about this big on your screen. So that is how I edit my photos. So I know not everybody has Photoshop. I just bought it recently. It's $10 a month, but I did want to give you an option that I used to use before I bought Photoshop. So it's a website called Canva, and there's lots you can do with this. As you can see, I have quite a few of my old Sims stuff on here. So yeah, this wasn't something I created a while ago for my channel. There's lots you could do with this. I highly recommend. I'm not going to go through this website. I highly recommend that you kind of explore it for yourself. It's really easy to use, and there's lots you can do, lots of cool fonts, lots of cool backgrounds, and little pictures that you can put in of cute things, and there's just so much you can do with this, and it's free. Totally free. You can make lots of cute stuff, and yeah, if you don't have access to Photoshop, then I highly recommend trying this out for your thumbnails. and you can make any size you want. So if you wanted to, you could do the pixel size that I use, which is, I can't remember. 1440 by 900 works great for my thumbnails. So yeah, definitely check out Canva. Yeah. So thanks for watching this video. I hope it was a little helpful. I know I kind of did a crash course on Photoshop and iMovie, and I'm sorry if you don't have a MacBook and you were really hoping for some PC editing stuff. I just don't have any programs for PC, but I think most photo edit or video editing softwares are pretty similar from what I've seen. Back in the day when I edited videos on PC, I used Pinnacle. I don't know if that's still around, but it was almost identical to this, and I didn't have any trouble transitioning over to using iMovie. So as far as my overlays, I know I kind of get fancy with my Keynote stuff, just because I don't know, I watched somebody on YouTube show me how to do it, and I thought it was cool. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with going in and adding in a title from your video editor and putting in something like, I think that looks totally fine, and it's really not about your overlays and your intros and outros. It's more about your content, and don't get too hung up on extra stuff like this. But since it's easy, I just do it. But if you don't have Keynote, don't worry about it. I do have PowerPoint, and I haven't actually looked to see if you can do similar things or not. I'm going to pull it up and just see if maybe you can export as a QuickTime file, because that's really the important thing about Keynote that makes it work so well with iMovie. Okay, so it looks like you can save it as a movie, but I don't know what the file type is. I don't know. I don't even know where that saved to. Oh, okay. So yeah. Did that save it as an MP4? Okay, so that was cool. Yeah, so you can do it in PowerPoint. So I'm sure you could get a really similar effect as Keynote. So if you have PowerPoint, there you go. Make some overlays. Yeah, so that's really all I have. I hope this was helpful. And my next tutorial type video in the next few weeks is going to be how I do my builds, the hotkeys I use, and just things I use to make it quicker and easier. So look forward to that, and thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to my videos if you haven't already, and I hope you have a great day.